Well, good morning. Thank you so much for joining me in my shop. Today is May 1st. Oh my gosh. I guess we can say winter's definitely over now here. So, lucky me. Yesterday I worked hard on trying to resolve the problem with the band switch, or band switching mechanism, if you like, in this radio. And here it is this morning. Takes a bit to get it to lock right in, but it does do it. Fantastic. Okay, that's great. Now, what about the rest of this radio? So you heard me play it, and you heard what it sounded like. Very low output, very tinny sort of sound. Certainly something's wrong somewhere, but the fact that it received the radio signal in the first place is quite positive. The fact that a radio signal on the antenna is coming out the speaker is a very positive thing to me. Now, I did read a person's comments about this radio on one of those websites where people who know a lot more than me hang out and talk about old radios, and he was very critical of this radio. He pointed out a number of significant problems with it. One of them is bad capacitors. Apparently loaded with bad capacitors. Now, he may be talking about a slightly earlier version of this radio than this version. This may have come just a little later, and maybe some of his comments aren't so valid. Another one is, and this surprised me too, it's a single conversion radio. I just assumed this would be a dual conversion radio. A single conversion radio, which means it could be susceptible to images, and his comment was, it is very susceptible to images, which is kind of surprising for such a high quality machine. That simple element would be kind of ignored. So that's his comment, though. I don't know what to make of that. His other comment was the layout of the radio is such that in order to work on it, you have to take a lot apart, which I did not like hearing. He talked about maybe it's the IF strip down here. I'm not sure now which part it was, but he said to get at that, you have to take out a whole bunch of other stuff. Bad capacitors. So could just generally dilapidated capacitors result in the kind of sound that I got? Yeah, sure. Sure, but it could just be one. It could just be one capacitor. Could be all the capacitors in here have deteriorated to some degree, but only a couple are in critical positions where it's affecting the performance of the radio. And there could be a number of capacitors that if they're leaky, it doesn't really matter at all. That's been my experience. Now, this is a supposedly, ignoring the fact that it's a single conversion radio, this is a high performance radio, so you would think they used pretty much the best of everything. I don't think this was a $50 radio when it came out of the factory. I think this was worth a lot of money. So they had the money to build it. So in just thinking about these things, what am I to do here? In order to, and I only want to work on it one day. That's today. So I'm not planning on taking it all apart. But I would like to know more about its condition, and most importantly, what it is I might have to do to make this work really well. The tuning in this thing is just beautiful. This beats my Hammerland. No other radio has ever beat my Hammerland. Look at this thing. It's like tuning velvet. It's just fantastic. You have the wheel going around up here. So just for the pleasure of tuning this thing, I'd like to get it working. Plus, I think it looks great when the power was on it. The way it lit up, fantastic. What's going on behind me here? Oh my gosh. A little bit of a crowd behind me. What are you guys doing here? What's up? What are you trying to do? Watched a video about cats and do they recognize humans as humans, or what do they think of humans? And according to the experts, cats think we're just bigger cats. Just weird big cats. Here's one. So they treat us pretty much like they treat other cats. In terms of their behavior, and that's what they like to see in us, is cat behavior, which we're not inclined to do. But one I do this one. Hey, hey, hey. See? Okay, when we meet, we do the nose to nose thing quite regularly. Hey, what are you smelling there? That's so interesting. There they go. Goodbye. Okay, enough. That's the cat portion of the video. Done. So one of the things I can do with this, there's a couple things I can do with it, but one of them is I could test these audio tubes back here. That wouldn't be unwise. These are rarer tubes than most, unfortunately, and that kind of comes along with these kinds of high performance sets. They often are using tubes that are a little more obscure. I guess they have certain very attractive characteristics. Another thing I can do is I can look underneath. Let's do that. Look under here and look for a capacitor that might be easy to get at, and replace one capacitor. I mean, there's one jumping out at me right here. He mentioned brown capacitors, and these are red colored. These are all red ones. So why would I want to do that? So I could take out one. Here's one right here. And then 100 degrees C. Take this out, put a new one there, and test this with my tester to judge the amount of leakage in it. And look at a smashed resistor here. Where'd that come from? Crushed. It was crushed by this thing. Okay, don't know what it was. Probably something I cut out of another radio. So another capacitor here. But you know what? There really there's a bunch way up in there, like way up there. This is just what the guy was talking about. So if you think the path to restoring the radio runs through changing all the capacitors, then yikes. That is a bad thing. There's a very bad soldering iron strike here. Wow. Wow. It's actually burned right through the insulation, and you can see the wire there. Looks like there's a like, you know, they've done this wrapping thing. Yeah, this is broken here, here. Maybe it's just laying on the bottom. Why would these all break? And then this one is definitely melted here. This is melted here too. Somebody was kind of loose and crazy with the soldering iron. I would think if you did this in the factory, you're going to hear about it. The inspector's going to spot it, and he's going to blast you if you're the one with the soldering iron. So almost certainly this is after the fact. Somebody had a soldering iron up in here? What would they be soldering? What would they be trying to do? Oh my gosh. Am I seeing things? I don't think I am. The person who gave me this radio, he told me a couple things. One was he didn't know anything about radios. This wasn't his, it was his father's or something like that. And he just wanted to see it go somewhere where it might have a better life. There's a spider right here. And yeah, this is possible. This is one spot. I mean, so one spot being me. Yeah, okay. But he said something curious just as he was leaving. He said something about the output transformer doesn't work. And this really caught me off guard, because up until that point I didn't think he would even know what an output transformer was. He threw that comment at me. Now it could be he's hooked up a speaker like I've done, and they've heard what I've heard, and they've decided that must be the output transformer, or maybe I misheard him. But I've seen something up in here which is a real eye popper. So the only way we're going to see it is if I use my other camera here. Where is it? Oh good, it's up on the stand here. Perfect. Am I crazy, or am I seeing what I think I'm seeing? That capacitor right there is hooked to nothing. It's popped off, it's hanging out. Oh, you can read the word Hunts right on it. Yeah. So Hunts capacitors, maybe not this particular type here, but some kinds of Hunts capacitors are really bad actors. That's the only way to describe it. These molded type, like the one we're looking at here, molded type, but that doesn't seem to guarantee much. So it's definitely just popped off and hanging there. Where did it come from? Oh my gosh. What else is going on in here? I wonder if somebody's tried to work up in here, you know, without dismantling the radio completely. What are you guys doing back there? Okay, nothing serious. Anything else in here that's funny looking? Who did that? Oh my gosh. There's a bus bar running right through the middle here. Got a lot of stuff attached to it. Is that where it popped off? Got quite a blob on the end of the... Now you think if it popped off, it wouldn't go anywhere. It would just... Look at the top part there. Doesn't that look like the on the bus bar, that wire, this wire here, looks barely tacked on. Where's it going? Wire. Oops. Wire goes up on top here. So I looked at this before on my own, and I didn't spot the capacitor there. Well, I was looking at this wire connection because it's related to, guess what? The output transformer here. Let me just take the camera off that. Holy smokes, what's going on here? Hang on a second, I have to... You can't... What's going on? Here, look, see this mouse? Oh my gosh, you crazy cats. What? You see this mouse? You see this mouse here? Go get him. Go get him. Knock those things down. Oh, don't knock those things down. They're going up. Yeah, stay over here. Play out there. You too, buddy. Come on, Bert. Go on out there. Leave me alone. Okay. Didn't I say that? I did the cat show earlier. So this is right up in here. You can probably see most of this with the regular camera if I just aim it right. So we have this white wire soldered here, and the white wire goes up to the output transformer. There's a center tapped primary side on the output transformer. I think the white wire is probably the center tap, and look, it's going to this bus bar, which is probably a ground bus bar. I see another similar thing done over here. So how would it go? Look at this, is stiff. Like, it's not going to wander, so it's been pushed to that location. Somebody has disconnected it. Big blob of solder on it. The other end of it is attaching to a terminal strip. Holy smokes. Do I have to get a schematic for this guy and look at what this could be? I have a short photocopied manual here, but it does not contain a schematic. It contains a parts list, but does not contain a schematic. Well, there's no obvious place for that capacitor to go except down in. Let's use the other camera again. I could swing down. I'm just looking for where it must have come from. And conceivably there'd be a blob of solder. The only place is really on this bus bar in the terminal strip. It's got this big resistor on it, and I'm pretty sure that's where the capacitor is connecting. There it is. Yeah, to the end of the terminal strip, and it's got this big resistor. If you swung this capacitor up past the white wire, if the white wire wasn't in the way, you could swing this capacitor up, and this end would end up over here. I wonder if they didn't change the output transformer. Take a look at it here. See the solder job there? That looks pretty fresh to me. Why is that wire looping up? Would they do that in a factory? Leave that wire looping up? The wire comes down, and I saw this earlier, meets a splice right there and changes color. Would they do that in a factory? It comes out the bottom, it's a different color. Those are all, no, they wouldn't do those things in a factory. If you change the output transformer, could it be the case that you end up with a capacitor of no use? A capacitor of no use. So if you change the output transformer, could you just do it all wrong? Completely wrong? You know what else I noticed? I think when I looked at this output transformer, I thought they had joined. It's like if you look in a hole, you see the white wire. Oh yeah, there's the blue one going through. Blue one back here, yeah. Okay, so it's not changing color. I'll take that back. Not changing color. But what is going on? The other thing is it wouldn't be mounted right. If this was a replacement, an ad hoc replacement, then it wouldn't be mounted right. Let's look for the other camera. I think I took a peek at this too and concluded, yeah, this isn't even mounted correctly. So we look at the output transformer, how it's screwed in. It looks like it's in place of where one was before. So we were listening to these connections here. These connections go to the two terminals here. Primary side, push-pull tubes, EL91s. This one's half out of its socket here. No, they're not. You know, the problem with this radio could be, you know, simple as a tube that's loose and not making pin contact, but I actually went through them all quickly and moved. Nothing happened in this radio at all. Usually that makes a scratchy sound, didn't make a sound at all. And these are all spring-loaded caps. They're pushing very hard down on the tube, and the tube is locked to the chassis. So there's a lot of pressure jamming the tube in. It's not going to come out. What other funny, strange observation can I make? Okay, so let's assume the output transformer got changed. That's an unlikely thing, but that's what it looks like. There's other outputs here. There's a 600 ohm output here. Center tapped output. How's that getting its feed? That's a good question. Let's take a look at that. How are the other outputs handled? just looking at this panel for a moment here. I guess the autofocus is not on. So I see Earth on this. Thank you. Hey, everybody in England, you're lucky you used the term Earth. It's hard to get confused around that. Ground is really vague in North America. So there's a 2.5 ohm. That's the aerial input here, of course. Yeah. Why they stuck the antenna input right next to the audio output is kind of weird. This is my resistor I put in. This is a 2.2 ohm resistor I put in. Didn't make much difference in terms of sound quality. Drop the volume a little bit if you don't have this in here. I just tried to match this. And then up on the top here is the 600 ohm feed, which we could try too. My earlier experiment, because I did experiment with it, didn't prove to be working. Didn't prove to be working. Changed output transformer, and those terminals don't appear to be working. It's starting to add up, isn't it? And here's a wire that was installed here. This is carrying the output from here over to the terminals. This wire is pulled as tight as can be, and it's lamp cord, right? It's not your usual wire. It's a piece of lamp cord, I think. Another indication that this has been worked on. So if you look at this terminal, and what's this wire? Don't know. It comes out of the bundle. I've lost where I am. Up where my finger is. Well, I can't see it very clearly, but it does look like it could have been resoldered. And that is the, I believe it's this pin here. The other wire, where's the other wire? The other wire is going to this ground terminal, and then you can see a wire running from the ground terminal over. And what is this thing? It's a resistor from ground. Looks like a resistor. I don't know what it is. From ground over to the to this terminal. It would appear that that's, I don't know. It would appear, I don't know. Well, okay, that's really quite a mystery. I think it's time for me to stop, and you can see the transformer, how it's held in. You're looking at the screw and the washer there, and that's not a factory job the way it's done. Not at all. Was there never this transformer, this output transformer was never there, and somebody added it completely? But this must have got its feed from somewhere. 2.5 ohms. And this guy too has to get his feed from a transformer. Okay, that's enough for now. I'm going to have a little coffee and think about this situation here. Could it be that the output problems are really caused by the way it's been treated here? And that if I could just figure a better way to extract the signal, maybe further up in the radio even, extract a clean signal. Forget all this stuff at the speaker end. Just get a signal out of it. Isn't there's an IF out on this? I'll take a look at that later. Okay, break time. Okay, so my computer hard drive got jammed, and I had to stop for a while I fixed that, and now I'm back at it. What was I looking at here? I think I just got this on the screen, if I remember right. And just started looking at, there's two tubes here, push-pull. There's the center tapped output transformer. There's the 2.5 ohm output. Where's the 600 ohm output? Where is that? Headphones output. I popped headphones into this and it did not work. So it strikes me this whole deal is not working right. But where's the 600? It's got to be. Well, is it right off of these? But they aren't noted. Like they show the terminals here, but there's no terminals shown. Ooh, what's that? RU. I don't know what that is. There's the power supply down here. This is probably an inverter tube to make the push-pull work. Probably an amplifier and an inverter. This would be a likely place to check the quality of the sound at this point in the radio. Might also be a place to tap off clean sound to be sent to another amplifier if this is all mucked up here. Somebody's messed around with it and who knows what it's supposed to do. I don't understand the terminals which are missing here. I don't understand it. Okay, well, there's another schematic. Let's see if I can bring that up here. So this is the other half of the page, front half of the page here. So just looking at it briefly, looks like 3 RF amplifiers in the front. I'm going to guess this is the oscillator area. And then we're looking at IF all through here. I'm just guessing, I'm not really sure. These are the turret tuning blocks, or whatever you want to call them. That's the power supply. We saw some of this on the other. I think. Did we see this? Look at this switch here. This is V11. Okay, other diagram. V11. Yeah, there's the switch. No sign of the output. Just looking very carefully now. It would have to be, I mean, there's 3 terminals on the back, and it says 600 ohms CT. And there's nothing like that here. That's a real mystery. So see how this says 77R, and then in brackets it goes S770R. Now I have this one, and it is a chance this receiver has more audio outputs on the back of it than this diagram is showing. Okay, won't worry about that too much just now. Maybe there's another schematic somewhere I will find. But the real story is what is going on at these tubes, what is going on really at the output of this. If I could find V15, which I think is right on the back of the radio here, and get on the plate with a audio, yeah, this must be the detector. There's probably a couple different detectors in this radio, but this looks like one here, this looks like one here. So we're past the point of detection. So yeah, this has got to be audio, of course. So yeah, if I get my a signal tracer onto this line here, and this one I'm pretty sure is the inverted one. Yeah, see, follow this to the grid, and you follow this one to trying to follow. Yeah, up here, the plate down, this way to the grid. So that's inverter. That's just an amplifier. We should be able to tap this and find it. 12AU7, the rope rate on it. V15. Okay, that's the plan. To try to hear the audio at this tube. That's the plan. Okay, it's getting a little late in the day here too. V15 is right up here. So the question is, could I get a connection into there? Well, one way or another. You know what, I can actually, I have a tube socket extender I can install here, and then I can access all the terminals right on the extender. Or I'm going up in there. So we have to figure out which one is the correct plate. Did the schematic show the pin numbers? Let me just peek at the schematic myself here. Does not. So we'd have to. It's a 12AU7 though. Supposedly 12AU7, the common tube. Okay. Okay. I got the next step here. Because of some computer trouble, I'm repeating something here that I may have already put on video, and I'm just not sure. So I'm going to try to snag the radio's output signal here, ahead of the output tubes and all this circuitry. I'm going to try to pick off this plate, but it really wouldn't matter if I ended up on this one. It wouldn't make any difference, I don't think. So let's do that. V15, it's a 12AU7. V15, okay. V15, well, V15 is up in here, and trying to get at it is impossible. I think it's impossible. So lucky for me, a viewer quite a few years ago sent me a set of these. These are tube socket extenders. Just plug the tube in the top, plug that in the socket, and then you can have access to, for test purposes, all the different pins right up on top here. So you're not poking around underneath, working right on top. Very good. So I'm going to utilize that. Let's tip this. I'm going to take the this connection off of here. V15's right here. This is 12AT7 instead of a 12AU7. It's probably a reasonable replacement. This is a 12AU7 V14. What's going on here? Let's take a look at that schematic again, because something's happening. So he's written 12AU7 here. He's also written 6AM5 here, but he didn't write anything back here. So where's all? I got a list of the tubes now for valve bases and connections. Shoot. Well, that's not very helpful. No, I was going to say sometimes right on the radio they put the actual tube number. They just have the schematic number, like V13. Okay, I'm going to have to hunt down the list somewhere. Let's look at the other. This one. Does it have a list? Well, okay, got to find a list of the tubes. I suddenly realized I have a printed list of the tubes right here. So tube 14, oh my gosh, this is totally wrong. V14 is supposed to be a 6AL5. So this is the 770U. That's not what I've got here. The one I've got is the, I'm just reading it right off of here, S770R. Well, I can't use this. Okay, well, it was exciting for a moment, but I'm going to go back to trying to find the list. Once again, Electrotania has come through. I've got the full manual for the 770R. Now mine's called the S770R, but I think probably that's the main thing. And right away, there's a tube list, and I was able to quickly check. And yeah, 16 and 17 are 6AM5s. And then 15 and 14, well, this is a 6AL5 stuck in there. That doesn't make any sense at all. I'm looking again to see. So I think part of what's happened, wait a minute. Why did I think that was a 6AL5? It says 12. Why did I think that? It says 12AU7. Okay. Okay, well, that makes me feel a little better because you put a 6AL5 in place of that tube. Now the question, I got a 6AT7. Lose my mind there. I got a 6AT7 in place of this one, but probably you can do that. Push-pull drivers. Muting stage. Excellent. Great. Look at this fantastic manual. Let's just go down through it here a little bit. Information about alignment. A list of parts. They didn't actually list the tube, just the tube number, not like the tube identifier, but not that. Here's the schematic. This is clearly the photocopy I have. It's the same thing as this. ABCD with that written on it, yeah. Okay, well this is great. I've got better information here. I'm gonna just, well, I gotta look into this 12AT7 thing and maybe just pull out a 12AU7 and stick it in there. 12AT7. Why don't we do that right now? Hey, let's do it with. We're gonna ask.
Hey Jim, what's up?
So I'm looking at a couple of vacuum tubes and wondering if they can be swapped. One is a 12AU7 and the other one is a 12AT7.
Ah, interesting. Swapping vacuum tubes like the 12AX7 family can sometimes be okay, but it depends on the circuit as they have different gain factors. The 12AX7 has a higher gain than the 12AT7. Are you fiddling with some audio equipment or something?
Okay, so it's not a 12AX7, it's a 12AU7, and the one that I'm considering is a 12AT7.
Got it. The 12AU7 has a lower gain than the 12AT7, so swapping them might not give you the same performance. It's best to check if the circuit you're using can handle the different characteristics. What's the project you're working on?
So can they just be swapped? The pin arrangement is the same for both tubes? I can just pop in one or the other?
Yeah, they share the same pin arrangement, so you can physically swap them without any hassle. Just remember, the electrical characteristics differ, so performance may change. What kind of equipment are you working on?
Great, bye. Bye-bye.
See you, Jim.
Yeah, as a matter of principle, I'm trying not to engage in a conversation that's not completely under my control. So when the voice here says, "So how's it going?" and stuff like that, I don't respond. It's a machine, you know. I'm gonna waste my human time talking to a machine as if it's a person. I'm gonna do my best. I'm not let that happen. Of course, I'm standing in an empty room here talking as if I'm not alone. Yeah. Okay. So, probably the AT7 has nothing to do. Well, why would it be swapped? Swapped because the original one was no good. Let's flip back to the camera here. So, okay, considering trouble in the output, I think I will test these tubes, and I will probably find a 12AU7, stick it in there anyway, just to be consistent with it. And as for why I thought this was a 6AL5, why would I think that? Getting old. Okay, I'm going to test them. But it might be worthwhile looking in the my tube manual here, and just read the description of the 12 AU7. It's a miniature type used as phase inverter or amplifier in AC/DC radio equipment and many diversified applications such as multivibrators or oscillators in industrial control devices. Also, it uses combined vertical oscillator, vertical deflection amplifier. So it's a pretty useful tube. I think that's why it's quite popular. And here's the 12ET7, the tube that's actually in the radio here. Miniature type used as cathode drive amplifier or frequency converter in FM and television broadcast bands. So their target use is quite different. Doesn't mean they can't be swapped with some variation in operation, which may or may not be significant. So it's probably better to put a 12AU7 in there, but for now we'll leave it. This is it here, 12AU7, up on top of the socket extender. Okay, so I have this out really. I want to take note of where the plates are. So one is on pin 1 and the other's on pin 6. 1 and 6. How long can I remember that? Okay, 1 and 6. And we should really hook up an antenna just and so the antenna there is obviously the antenna I'm using is just an FM radio antenna, but that's good for the FM band which this will receive. Why don't we put this up here so it travels with the radio. Well, there's a curious thing. Green wire coming out here with a clip on it. You could clip it, you could slide that wire off a little pin. That's very curious. Don't know what that is. Because I don't want to bump into it with this though. Okay, so I think that'll just do this. I'm anticipating swinging the radio around, and I can see problems if I don't take care of them ahead of time. Okay. And right, backwards. We're looking at things here. This guy hums. So, you can ground this to the chassis. I took a look at the schematic. So we're just going to clip it on there. This will be set to audio because we're in audio circuits. Okay, this is set. Can't quite see what I'm up to. I don't want there to be a mystery. Okay, practice session before turning the radio on. I'm going to move it a little bit this way. Number 1. Now, number 1 is here. Number 6 is right at the back. So I would want to do this. And then I will want to do this. Either one should produce pretty much the same thing, I think. Based on me glancing at the schematic. Okay, hand on the volume. Let me spin it around now. I'm not going to be able to reach over and do this. Why do I want to have it this way? Yeah, I don't want to reach over and do it this way. I want it, well, I know what I want to do. I want to make sure I got the right band selected. So I want a band 2, right where it's tuned. Perfect. Audio is halfway up. IF gain is all the way almost. set to FM. Okay, if I just flip this, it's on. I've taken the ground off. I'm going to rotate and put the ground wire back on. What? I have to throw the switch here. Wait a minute, how come it didn't come on? I didn't throw the right switch. Yeah. Okay. Now we spin it around. Again, there's no speaker connected. There is a resistor load on the, what am I doing? On the supposed output. Okay. 1 and 6. And on the volume. What are we going to hear? Don't know. 1. Sounds like an FM radio to me. Okay, I'm going to reach around and tune the radio.
Oui, effectivement, donc c'est un touré qui est coordinatrice sur PC-Centre et puis des intervenantes effectivement.
Okay, it's French, I like that. And then the other plate, both distorted. You can listen to the output that's down here. You can listen to it going into here. Center tap, shouldn't be anything there, should there? Hot diggity dog, wasn't that exciting? Holy smokes. Wow! Okay. Now I'm wide awake. Yeah, I'm wide awake. I'm a year older, but wide awake. And this one. Back to here. I think it sounds pretty much exactly the same. Let's make sure it's not tuning here. Whoa. I have to put the brake on. There. Okay, back on. If I tune it right in, maybe it changes to English. No, I don't think so. Okay, that's great. I think what I need to do is put a proper tube in here, a 12AU7, and perhaps even test it. Yeah, we need to test that. Yeah, 12AU7. But you know, it's dinner time. I gotta stop. Okay, turns out I was wrong about what time it is. I still have time. And I got another idea. So far I've been just using the FM receiver. Let's turn this on. What about the AM side? So, well, what about it? I'm going to flip this to AM. I'm going to tune down into the range of my signal generator over here. We don't need to look this way anymore. We'll look this way. And we'll try to feed a signal from the signal generator into the radio. It's a pretty straightforward thing to do. Do that. Spin the radio around. Get the brake on. Ooh, that's a heavy radio. Wow. Is that something about British design at this time? make that. This thing is incredibly rugged. Wow. Okay, so we're going to do AM, and we're going to go for band 6. There we are. We're going to tune to a nice round number like 25. 25. Okay. Rotate this around again. Connect that different antenna connection here. I hope I got a cable handy. Does he have a cable immediately handy? Okay, I have to fetch a cable here. Okay, before we connect the signal generator of the radio, we should sort of set or calibrate this. Well, first we need to set it to 25. Okay, close enough. And we need to set the calibration on it, which is way off. Okay, so this means there's 10 microvolts times this number here. Right now it's times 1. It's 10 microvolts here, more or less. That's a low amount. I'm going to hook it up. Very, very good radios can respond to this. And I'm going to make sure there's a modulated signal here. 1000 hertz. So there's now a tone being transmitted at that frequency right into the back of this radio. So now we're going to bring over the put the brake on again. I need a better brake. Somebody give me a break. There we go. Okay. Now I'm going to have to change things a little bit here. I want to be able to swing the frequency of the signal generator or operate it. The camera's in the way. If I back it up way back here. Okay. Here we go. The ground is off. The ground is off. Ground is on. Sounds the same. Doesn't sound very good. Okay, we're going to sweep by with this very low output. Okay, we're going up by a factor of 10. Another factor of 10. You can't read the number there, can you? It says 25.002. Now, ignoring all the other buzzes and nonsense, it's just because of the way I'm doing this. I wonder what the volume control does on this radio now. So a huge hiss here. Pop. Where'd the hiss go? What happened? Where'd the hiss go? I didn't do anything. Could be my signal tracer. Oh. Okay, that scared the just shake my hand leg here. Wow. What was that? What was that? I want to go and look. I'm scared to look. Turn this down. It's getting scary suddenly. Back to whatever. Oh. What is happening here? I don't like it. would. It doesn't sound doesn't sound very good. Is it happening on the other one? It must be happening on the other one too. Well, it went quiet. What's going on? Sometimes stuff like that is a heater going on and off. Like that. I don't know. That's it. That's where I'm stopping today. I'm going to call it quits right here. We managed to hear it work AM, hear it work on FM. Maybe not well, but look at how much stuff there is here, and it's managing to work to this degree. That's a really good sign. And let me turn this power off here. Because even though we're not hearing it, it's still probably doing that thing. Whatever that thing is. I'll go ahead and get rid of this tube. And we'll stick a 1287 in there and continue tomorrow a little bit. I'm going to go another day with this because I sense I am close. Yeah, but I can be pretty senseless. So, okay, well, have a great day. And we'll see you on the next video.